What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Charles Griffin, who recently gave a hint that he's aiming to come back to the stage in 2026 after a gap of almost 3 years. So comebacks at the highest level, they don't always have a happy ending. But that being said, we did just saw a perfect example of Sazan Hirati, who made a comeback after 5 years, brought his all-time best look. He won 2 pro shows and he made his Olympia debut this year. So Charles Griffin is a former 3 times Olympian with some of the most incredible back in the entire men's open bodybuilding at the moment. Oh, that was the case when he was actively competing. And right now the man is steadily moving up the weight scale and is putting on some muscle, some mass. And the fact is, getting his size back, that is needed if he wants to be competitive again whenever he comes back. So the main reason on why Charles Griffin, he decided to take a couple of years off, and that happened after the Olympia back in 2023, that was to rebuild his chest after the pec tear that happened earlier in 2023, and he wanted his chest to be the way it was before that pec tear happened. And for those of you guys who do not know, it happened while trying to press 170 pounds for reps. So that injury happened about 3 years back. And Charles went through a lot of rehabilitation and recovery, and he actually came back very strong at the Legion Sports that year, the show that he won to secure his Olympia spot. So the physique update that he posted today, that is actually a side chest pose. So we will get to see more of him as he continues with his comeback journey. So Charles Griffin worked with Matt Jensen for most part of his pro career, and together they did amazing work. So if we take a look at how Charles was able to change the entire flow of his physique from 2018 to 2022, it was an awesome transformation. And the major part, the major change, that was the implementation of the vacuum. So conditioning wise, Charles Griffin has never been off. So I am actually excited to see how this comeback pans out. Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So the legend and the 7 times Olympia champion Phil Heath, he released some more footage from his photo shoot after his final bodybuilding competition, which of course was the Olympia 2020, where he ended up placing top 3. So the greatness of Phil Heath, that can be seen from his final Olympia appearance. The man was far from his personal best, not even close. Even his back, that wasn't the same as it used to be in his prime years. On top of that, he still had some of that hernia issue. But even Phil Heath, not even being close to his personal best, he was top 3 in the world. Let me give you guys another stat. This was the lowest Phil Heath ever placed since 2009. And absolutely no disrespect to the guys who are the top 3 in this era. But the genetic gifts of Phil Heath, the way he was put up together, they were so far ahead of them even now. The roundness and the kind of 3Dness that he had. And he always looked so bubbly and so cartoonish. On top of all that, his skin texture, the kind of conditioning that he brought, that was so immaculate that he just destroyed the competition for 7 years straight. And there could not have been a more accurate nickname for Phil Heath than the gift. So Hani Rambod and Phil Heath, they had one of the most dominant run in the entire bodybuilding. And looking back, there wasn't even one victory of Phil Heath which was controversial or questionable. And yes, I know people say that Big Ramy should have won back in 2017. But if you go back and look at that now, you would understand why Phil won. Now the same thing can be said about guys like Dorian Yates. And I know even the fans of Kai Green, they went with this narrative for many years that Kai was robbed. But now they also accept that Phil Heath was just superior. So where did you guys rate Phil's physique among the all-time greats? Next up, we have an update from Florian Charles, the most impressive guy in Japan Pro lineup after Sean Carida. So he did beat Joan Pradels against all the predictions, and it was kind of shocking to see him not doing the big man week in Spain. as he would have won that show and secured his Olympia ticket. So 2025, that was the comeback year for Florian Charles. He came back from classic physique into the men's open bodybuilding and the second place finish in Japan. That is his career's highest placing so far in the men's open division. So his entire contest run in 2025, that was a testament that he made his comeback in the division where he truly belongs, and rightfully so. And one can only imagine how many pro shows he would have won by now if he stayed in the open since 2019. So that's how back he goes to the time when he earned his pro card, and he made his pro debut the very next day, and that was at Portugal Pro, and the man looked so awesome. But still, as young as the man is, he can still make so much improvements, especially in his back, and he can still be on the Olympia stage maybe as soon as next year. So the legs on him, they are world class. Now he does need more size in the upper half, in the upper back, and also more width. And if he can do that, he will be able to win his first pro show, and he will qualify for the Olympia. So a lot of people out there thought that he should have beaten Sean in Japan, but Sean just had too much of the density advantage over him and all these other guys. So the lack of visa, that is the only reason we can understand why some of these guys, including Florian, they did not go for Spain, as this show was literally scheduled just 1 week after Japan Pro. So the road to the Arnold, Ohio 2026, that has now begun. So Classic Physique division is shaping up to be very interesting for the upcoming Arnold. We just heard from Mike Sommerfeld that he is very much interested in going for the Arnold and defending his title, and rightfully so, considering the fact that he's already maxed out, so there is no point of taking a long off season. We have a guy like Michael the Bull, who is also very interested, another top classic physique guy, and he just went through some rehab, some blood work, and some medical checkups to make sure that all his health markers, everything's in check before he starts firing again for the upcoming Arnold. And now we have another guy from Brazil, Matheus Menegatti, who has confirmed that he's coming for the upcoming Arnold. So Matheus was actually top 7 at his second Olympia, where he beat Michael the Bull and a bunch of other very good physiques like Justin Badurina, Logan Franklin, and so many others. So him placing 7th in the world for 2 years in a row in a deep lineup of almost 50 guys, that just goes to show us that he's one of the best in the world in classic physique, and he has a very bright future ahead. Now I am certainly hoping that Logan Franklin, he also jumps into that show, and both these guys, they can settle this feud that has been going on for quite some time now, and Matheus did just beat him at the Olympia this year. Now this is a guy who has a very impressive shape, the arms, the lats, and the small waistline. He flows very beautifully, and he looks very classic. He has those flaring quads, which makes up for a perfect X-frame. Now he wasn't as tight at a show like Tampa Pro, but his Olympia look, that was very impressive. Although he does need more thickness in the chest area, because that kind of flattens out. So that's the big chunk in his armor, his biggest weakness. Now that is something that he has improved a lot in the past couple of years, but still, he needs more attention there. Now it's obviously a genetically inferior muscle group, so we do not know how long it's gonna take for him to bring up a genetically weak body part. But when he's able to do that, he will be top 6 at the Olympia for sure. So assuming Mike is in for the Arnold, then Matheus is gonna be the second highest placing Olympian from the Olympia this year, who has now confirmed his attendance for the upcoming Arnold. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.